And we are live. Welcome back to the James Mcgee Show. I am your host. I am James Mcgee, and we are joined by Joe Collins and Jason Kiefer for one more, and I'm out of here. We're probably going to have maybe Rich will be in a little later. Deirdre's coming on, and she's going to come in. Tom Wells is celebrating 5 years that his wife won the husband lottery. So Miss Laura Wells, if you're out there, congratulations on you winning the husband lottery 5 years ago today.
Yeah, congrats.
So, I'm surprised he didn't make his date night on the show, Joe. That would be fitting for Tom Wells.
I would think they could come live from the dinner table. They got an iPhone. What? I know he's got an iPhone. Come on, man.
Hey, and you know what? The night is young.
Yeah.
So before we start, and Joe, I told Jason off camera, I haven't told anybody what I'm fired up about because I want it to be raw. And if y'all disagree, hey, let's glove up and let's fight it out because I'm pretty pissed off about one thing in particular. But before we get started, you know, I don't know how much y'all know about New Orleans. I mean, y'all know it's a shithole. It is a liberal-ran city. They have run that city in the ground. But one thing, you know, and I did a TikTok on this earlier. One thing you cannot, there's a lot of it. You know, we want all the answers right now, and we get it as far as, you know, us being first responders and law enforcement. Wait, did we lose Joe?
Yeah, it looked like he fell off. Hopefully he'll be back in.
Oh, he'll come back. So what kind of gets me, oh, here we go. Now I got it. All right, now we got it. Now we good. All right. So what gets me is that, you know, we want all the answers now, and we just have to understand that we're not going to have them. But what we shouldn't have is the federal government lying to us. You know, the things that they just come out and say. First thing is, oh no, it's not a terrorist. You didn't know that. So just quit treating, we need to be treated like adults and tell us, hey, we don't know those answers right now, and we're working hard to find them out. So there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of unknown. But let me tell you one thing that's not unknown, and there's proof of it. There's a video circulating, I know y'all probably seen it, of a group of policemen when they hear what's going on, and people are running towards them away from danger. Joe, what did the policemen do? They ran to the fucking danger.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And Jason, you're a fireman. I'm sure firemen were the same way. They were running, the first responders were running towards the danger. So before we get kicked off tonight, I want to do a toast for them, to them, the policemen, the first responders, the firemen, the emergency workers. Proud of you, love you, so thankful for you. And fuck everybody. Here's my toast. Fuck everybody that believes in defund the police and defund first responders. Go fuck yourself. Proud to be part of y'all.
Absolutely.
So before I go on my rage, y'all want to add anything on that?
Well, and I think what a lot of people don't understand if you haven't been in the field is just the carnage of what those individuals saw when they got there. Yeah. And the tragedy that it leaves that day for those people that were hurt or killed, but the tragedy that sits in every one of those cops or firemen or paramedics that sits in their head after that.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks about the after effects.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that.
Well,
you know what?
And let's add to the trigger point is that when we hear that something has happened, the first thing that's going through your mind is that shit, we didn't stop it.
Right.
We didn't prevent it. So now you have that guilt on top of the fact now you're running in to try to fix things and people are going to be hurt and devastated. And it's like,
and you know, yep. And you know what? What we also all know is that there's no timeouts in this game.
Yeah.
The same ones who responded, there's a very good chance they're working right fucking now.
All right. Well,
there's no timeouts. There's no breaks. That's what people don't understand. A lot of times you want to compare it to a sports team or some sort of game. Well, every game that we know that is played, you have quarters, you have timeouts, you have replay, all this other stuff. Man, you don't have that in first responder work. So that's something that before we started tonight, I get on my first rant. I want to recognize that and just how proud I am of them, because I know personally, being from Louisiana, how shit on law enforcement in fucking New Orleans is. They're unappreciated. They're underpaid, grossly underpaid.
Yeah.
The mayor is a circus clown.
Mm.
The police chief, I did my research on her today, is the ultimate DEI hire. She's a complete asshat. And just my hat's off to the men and women that were working that night and part of that, because you would have never known how low the morale is. You would have never known by their actions how bad they are being fucking treated. You would have never known that, Jason. Never would have known. They stopped. They killed this man, this terrorist. They killed this terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
He killed, I think the death toll right now is 15.
That's what
it's not higher because of these policemen, and 2 of them were shot. So that's how I want to start tonight. So this is my rant, and I want y'all's honest opinion. I want y'all's, like I said earlier, hey, if y'all disagree, let's glove up and let's fight it out. I am fucking tired of hearing about fucking barricades. I'm fucking tired of hearing it, because yes, could there have been barricades? Should there have been? But let me tell you what the media is doing and what the federal government is doing with this focus on these fucking barricades. So barricades could have disrupted this vehicle, right? Okay, you don't think the guy knew there wasn't barricades? So if there was barricades, what does he do? He switches to a rifle. This was not an act of a person who just had maybe lost their job or just had a fight with their wife and they just lost it. This was a well-planned attack. Mm-hmm. He was going to attack that city, that community, that group of people somehow, some way.
Yep.
So should there have been, I get that. But what they're trying to do is focus you on, hey, look over here. We don't want you to focus on the fucking failures. How you prevent terrorist attacks starts with intelligence, starts with a secure border, starts with us not giving $40 million a fucking week to ISIS.
Yeah.
That's where the fucking problem is. But they want to focus on these fucking barricades, which, like I said, they should have been there. And it shows the incompetence of the leadership of the city of New Orleans. Yes. But that's how they play us. They like a friend of mine used, they playing on our top. They playing on our fucking top right now. They are trying to insult our intelligence and get us looking over here, Joe, so we don't pay attention to the failure. The failure. So that's what I'm really fired up about, is these fucking barricades. I don't give a fuck about goddamn barricades. I want to know how Tulsi Gabbard's on the fucking terror watch list, but this fucking man isn't? Come on, motherfuckers. Come on. This is bullshit.
Well, it's like you said, look over here, but this is the real fucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what they do every fucking time, Jason.
They direct us, and they think that and for the most part, let's be honest, people are like fucking cattle.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part.
There's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt.
And probably 7 out of 10 people, you put those into bigger groups, are going to start. They'll go over here and look at this. But you have people like yourself, myself, Joe, a lot of our listeners on One More, very intelligent people that will deep dive into the shit and not take what the media is just telling us.
Yeah. Wait till Dee gets on later. Wait till she gets on.
I agree with you. Yeah. The intelligence and the reconnaissance and all of that. The fact that this was calculated, it was planned. There's video, multiple sets of video of him dropping coolers earlier in the evening with IED shit in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all there. It's calculated. Why? Why in that? What sent him over the edge? We'll never know because his head got made to look like a fucking canoe.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it? And how did we not have him on the radar?
Yeah, well, we had Tulsi Gabbard on the radar.
Exactly. She can't go to an airport with her fucking husband and take a trip. But yet this guy can rent a truck and then just barrel through a crowd of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where the failure is, Joe. Give me your thoughts on that. To me, that's where the failures are. Like, I agree there should have been these barricades, and the fucking police chief, she's such a fucking clown. She didn't even know what these barricades were for. She had no idea. I interviewed her today. She didn't know what the fuck. She had no clue what the fuck was going on. So she's a fucking clown. But
right.
Again,
so
I feel really strong about
that. So there's all kinds of stuff, right, that we're talking about. So one and foremost is that when you're the top law enforcement official, you've got to know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. And you said the DI hire, it's 100%, right? But I
did my homework on that. That wasn't just off the. I did my homework.
I know.
She was fired from Oakland. She's a fucking clown.
So when I got my master's degree, we actually did a deep dive in the shuttle when it exploded, and the fact that the organization and the culture within that organization, there were people that knew that there was a problem with the rings and the tiles. They knew it. But they didn't feel comfortable, and they didn't have an organization where someone could come to them and say, we have a problem, we can't launch the shuttle, or else they would have lost their jobs, they would have been ridiculed, they'd have been blackballed if they would have done that. It's the symptom, going back to the parable of the emperor has no clothes, that people around those leaders don't have the courage, the values to be able to say, you're wrong. This isn't somebody that should be leading us. They don't have the ability to do that. And then we end up with this, right?
Yeah.
Now, falling back to the barricades, they don't have enough barricades to barricade every single street and down in that area. We've all been there, right? So this guy, it was calculated, like you said, he planned, he scoped it out, he dropped stuff off ahead of time. He knew where there would not be barricades. Even if they had them out, there were going to be areas where there were crowds that wouldn't have barricades because they don't have enough.
So he was prepared also with explosives. He was going to commit this act in firearms. He was committing this act somehow, some way. He had a plan B. Hey, you know what? The truck might have been his plan B. He scoped it out, and that was the best route. That was not his only means of committing a terror act. So, yes, was it a failure? But the biggest failure is that, again, Tulsi Gabbard is on the terror watch list and not this fucking terrorist.
Well, I read today that the guy actually announced that he had joined ISIS.
Yeah, he had.
And he did do that yesterday. So where does this guy not then hit the watch list or their attention? And it's like, well, where is this guy? Oh, he just rented an Airbnb in New Orleans a couple of days before the first of the year, New Year's Eve. Oh, wonder what he's doing.
So let's talk about Vegas. I've been focusing on this a little more. My wife did a lot of research on this today for me. What do y'all know? I know a little bit about Vegas, but what do y'all know about Vegas?
No, I don't know a whole lot.
I know I was actually very impressed with what that Cybertruck looked like after. Like, I mean, just how the frame and everything, it was impressive, because watching the closed circuit television video of that thing exploding and what was left after, it was kind of impressive of what the car looked like. But I was literally just watching on Fox News all the shit that they pulled out. They pulled out a Desert Eagle, pulled out a rifle out of the actual vehicle, a whole bunch of fireworks. I don't know, and I have not heard yet exactly what the incendiary device that detonated, like what that was. Obviously, we won't know that for a little while, but then David J said it in the chats, but apparently he had a self-inflicted gunshot wound before it went off, and a pistol was sitting at his feet in the vehicle. Once they pulled him out, but I don't know. I know he was from what I'm hearing and what I looked at and saw was that him and the New Orleans dude were, I don't know if the same base or however it was, but they're both, so they were both at Fort Hood. Is that where it was?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So and they both rented their vehicles through that Turo site or app or whatever. Whether it's connected or not, I don't know. But
okay, so what's your
everything's
opinion?
coincidental right now, where I'm like,
when it comes down, do you think it's going to be connected when it's all said and done? What's your gut telling you?
I think it is, because they had communication at some point within the last week or so, and I'd have to go and find that article that I was reading. But
well, Dia texted something earlier about that, and hopefully she gets on a little bit and she's able to tell us that. But I'm with you. I think it's going to be. But here's my issue. Quit trying to convince it. That's why people don't trust the federal government, don't trust the media, because they're trying to form this. They're trying to make our minds up already. Just say you don't know.
Right.
Quit trying to convince us that this is not related when it may be.
Yeah. Hey, we're looking into it.
We're looking into it. I mean, it's real easy to say, hey, we don't know. People will accept that. But I think that we have to understand these things take time. But I think our patience would be there if we weren't lied to so fucking much.
Right. And I mean, let's face it, we're a right now society. We want information right now, and the news feels that they have to give it to us right now. But even though it may be wrong, but they're delivering.
Well, is it because you want to be the first with so many outlets now, Jason? You got to be the first with the most, and if it's wrong, then at least you got some listeners and you got a little traction and maybe some maybe some sponsors or something. But
there's so much that's going to come out over the next couple of weeks, and especially with Cash Patel is put in. I mean, obviously this is nowhere near over, but the amount of information I think over the next few weeks that we're going to get as this investigation goes, because the thumb is going to be put down on New Orleans police chief, the authorities in Vegas. The thumb's going to be put down because true answers are going to be demanded and ordered to be put out.
But I think that it just, again, I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. It's so much bigger than that. It's so deeper than that. It's not and I'm not excusing local law enforcement or local government. I've already said how I felt about that city and the leadership there. This is not a local problem. When you're giving ISIS $40 million a fucking week as a federal government, that's a problem. We're financing the enemy. That it starts there. So, I'm not excusing them for the lack of barricades, but we cannot let the fucking media and the federal government make us concentrate on fucking barricades, okay? We cannot they're trying to get us to concentrate on fucking barricades because they didn't do their fucking job, because they're the ones supporting the fucking enemy.
Yeah, we're welcoming them in with open arms. Come on in. Here, we'll give you a place to stay even.
Meanwhile, Liz Cheney got a presidential accommodation today.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that fucking clown, Joe. Joe Biden. The other Joe. The Joe we don't like. Wait, Joe, I think we lost you on your sound. We can't hear you. Can you hear us? Okay. Well, we can't. Jason, you can't hear him, can you?
I can't hear him.
Okay.
Something happened.
Well,
gotta love technology. This shit, it always makes me laugh because I'm like,
well, it's technology, but you also got a bunch of fucking old guys like us trying to operate it. Try to unmute, Joe. Let's see.
Sounds like something's trying to come through, but it's just not.
Yeah. Well, I think
if
that
he goes out and comes back in, that might correct it.
You might have to go out and come back in again, Joe. Huh. All right. Well, I think that when it comes out, yeah, Jeremy Trey had said, Joe, go get your grandson. He might be able to fix it.
That's hilarious.
So I think that when it does come out, there's no way that you're going to convince me that this Vegas thing is not related. It just has to be.
Yeah, it's just so close. In time, it's so close that I don't understand how it wouldn't be either.
Joe, can you hear us?
I think he's working through something.
Okay. No, I think it does. But and why are they so adamant to downplay? What do you think, Jason? They're so adamant to downplay these things from the beginning. I understand public alarm. I understand, that really could create some problems, major problems. If what we don't want is the public to be so alarmed that we start having, killings of Muslim people. We don't want these kind of problems, but they got to do a better job at keeping us informed, admitting or saying, look, we're not there yet. It's okay to just say we're not there yet.
Right.
Instead of just downplaying it and saying, well, that didn't happen, or it's a lone wolf and it's not related. Well, when it comes out in 2 weeks that it is, you lost all fucking credibility.
Yeah. And I was watching, and I agree. They don't want mass hysteria, and they don't want more blood in the streets, so to speak. But let's not forget. We're 4 days away from what we're not allowed to say on YouTube.
Yeah.
To create mass hysteria, because they're going to use that again. And they're going to try to figure out, you remember at first they didn't even want to say that it was an ISIS flag on his truck. Like they downplayed that until they couldn't. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, you're right. And then, we found out that he has ties. Blah, blah, blah.
Speaking of that 4 days that we're not supposed to talk about, look who's here.
Oh shit.
Hi.
So what Jason was just talking about that date that YouTube will kick us off if we talk about that comes up in 4 days. Today's January 2nd, D. What's in 4 days?
Well, I think Joe's
at 4 to 6.
Oh gosh,
Oh wait, 4 to
I'm
2.
thinking Mardi Gras because the Mardi Gras season I've been talking about starts January 6th.
So D, welcome. I know you have a lot to say. You've done about 4 or 5 TikToks today on this.
Yeah, my account's about to be taken down.
Thank you for sending me that audio, by the way, or sending the audio in the link for the dispatch, because I hadn't heard any of that. That's absolutely alarming.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I know you have a lot to say, D, but I'm gonna recap just something that I started off with and what my stance is. And hey, maybe you disagree. I don't know. What I'm I'm a lot pissed off about is that typical federal government, typical media is trying to divert us to pay attention to something so we don't pay attention to something else. I'm tired of hearing about these fucking barricades, okay? Yes, those barricades should have been out. But this was a terrorist act. If the barricades would have been up, he would switch to something else. He was committed to commit a terrorist act. You prevent a terrorist act by intelligence, by not giving ISIS $40 million a week of our money to support them, the organization that he was a part of. This terrorist was not on the terror watch list, but Tulsi Gabbard is. So that's my issue with that. Yes, the barricades, they're trying to localize it, and I think that New Orleans is a complete shit show. The mayor is a clown. The police chief is the ultimate DEI hire. She is a fucking clown.
I can't believe what that woman said yesterday.
So I'm not defending them, but I am not going to sit here and let them try to get us to pay attention to some barricades when the fucking federal government, the 13 Intel, the trillions of dollars we're spending on Intel a year failed, and we're going to blame it on some barricades? No, it's a lot bigger than that. It starts with that. So what's your take on things? I know you have a lot to say.
I think they intentionally didn't have the barricades up. For sure. Out of all days, they always have barricades up. It's the same thing here in Mobile. They have the barricades across the entire sidewalk, street, other sidewalk. You mean to tell me they just, oops, another security failure, another one, just like everything else has been a security failure. Like, how many security failures do we have until it's them doing it? So, yeah, this guy, it was absolutely a terrorist attack. But the biggest terrorist in this country is our own government. Our own government is giving these people money to do this. The guy was in the military, which I'm not 100% convinced on, because I'm looking at pictures of him in the military and that looks nothing like him. I actually just looked at that. I'm like, wait, why do these people look completely different?
He did look a lot different than the.
I didn't look. I haven't seen that.
Really,
I can't comment on that.
He's really, really black in the army picture, but in the video he's not. And the he looks completely different. So I'm not 100% convinced that he's an actual veteran. Even if he was, Trump literally said the threat from within.
Yeah.
There are literally people infiltrated in our government and in our military that are not good people, and they're all working with the people that came across this border.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the other thing. What I said earlier was, before we start talking about barricades, that's the last line of defense. Let's get back to, let's reverse engineer this thing to unsecure borders. That's where the problem lies.
I think it's great that people are questioning the barriers.
I agree with that. No, I do agree with that.
Question that before, but I think it starts with questioning, okay, why weren't there barriers when there always is? Maybe it was intentional. Because it absolutely was. I cannot believe what that police chief said. I can't. That's insane.
Did you see the interview, D, where she said she didn't know anything about barricades? She didn't know what they were ever used for. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You mean to tell me the police chief of New Orleans doesn't know about barricades?
I do believe that, D. Have you looked into her at all?
No.
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, I don't think she's playing. She's that fucking stupid.
Wow.
She's not qualified for the job. She was a police chief for a couple of years in Oakland and got fired. How the fuck do you get fired in Oakland? Nobody wants to be the chief in Oakland. Oakland's a bigger shithole than fucking New Orleans. So how the fuck do you get fired from Oakland and then you get hired in New Orleans? You go tell me nobody from New Orleans or from Louisiana wanted the job? There's a good chance they didn't. Just fuck. You had to go find this fucking clown and bring her and import her here? That makes no fucking sense.
And the governor. Here's the thing that I can't even look at the news because it's comedy to me. And by that, the whole situation obviously is not funny in any sense of the word. But the fact that these people think we're this stupid is really funny to me. And the fact that they would literally get on national TV and the governor would say, New Orleans is the safest place in the world right now is so incredibly insane to me that any person in power would say something like that. First of all,
well, it don't surprise me because I know him. I don't know him well, but I do know him. I know his history. He is a fucking moron.
But think about that. Okay, so then if something happens and you're over there promising it's the safest place in the world, well, I think a lawsuit should come your way.
So what's your take on we talked about this, but what's your take on this? What do you feel like Vegas is related?
Absolutely. Come on. I don't believe in coincidences anymore, especially when it comes from their mouth.
It's fair.
I think New York, which you barely heard about, was related. Now a plane crashed in California that I just saw right before this. What is happening? And all the 4 planes that fell out of the sky just a week before this.
But hey, there was nothing to see with those drones they were talking about 2 weeks ago, huh?
Right.
And then, so that's what I'm saying when the governor says that it's the safest place in the world. Like, so if a drone came flying over and just somehow, I mean, they didn't know what these drones were and everything. They couldn't get it under control. And I even said, watch, this story is just going to disappear into thin air and you're never going to hear about it again.
Yep, absolutely.
And it has.
Oh, sorry. We don't know what they are. Next.
Yeah,
nothing to see here. Never mind the man behind the curtain. Don't worry about it.
No.
I think they're scoping out places to do this at.
So what do you think? What do you feel like, Dee? What do you feel like is next? Do you think this is just something coming because of the transition? What do you feel like is coming?
Well, I've been saying this since in I think it was May. And it might have been around, I don't know if it was around when I found you on TikTok, but I had been making videos because they had a press conference. And I think a lot of people forgot about this, that they said, there was 2 million terrorists accidentally led in the country and we don't know where they are.
I remember that.
And everybody's just like, oh, okay.
Well,
nobody said anything. I'm like, did nobody just hear what they just said? 2 million terrorists. That's 41,667 per state, excluding Alaska and Hawaii.
So, Joe, did you notice how quick they were to say that this guy was a born citizen?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was important for them to say that?
Oh, 100%.
I agree.
They can't.
Joe said 100%. I got a drink.
Got to have a drink. That's the rule. You have a drink when you say 100%.
One more and I'm out of here.
All right.
That's why our shows are shit shows.
200% believe that that's the case. So
with the guy in Vegas, they said, well, first they said he was burnt beyond recognition. And then all of a sudden they knew exactly who he was and they knew immediately that he was a veteran. What? I thought don't you have to make like DNA and stuff, or?
I was confused with that as well. And then today I was telling McGee and Joe that they found like all this shit. They found, the different weapons, and then they found a passport. So I don't know what portion of the vehicle that was found, and they showed the pictures of it and whatever. It had some charring or whatever. But I didn't know as much about the Vegas stuff until a little bit earlier today. I started, trying to catch up on that because obviously this was a big deal. It was like, holy shit! Like
I know, I'm just like, it's only day 2.
I don't think that Elon realized that he had created an explosion containment device with his pickup trucks.
That ain't no shit.
But damn, well, let's hope that all of the improvised explosions happen in those trucks.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Do y'all feel like there's some sort of relation that this happened in an Elon vehicle in front of Trump Tower?
I guarantee you there is. The guy's like, I need to rent a Cybertruck. I'm putting it right in front of Trump's place.
I mean, it wasn't an accident. Come on. No, it can't be an accident.
Who goes and rents a Cybertruck?
First off, yes, exactly.
Clever. I see what he did there. I get it. But what the fuck?
They showed a picture of his ID, and it has a few little burnt crisps on it.
Which watching the video, I said earlier, I mean, it was a pretty impressive explosion.
Yeah.
But and the thing is this guy was in special forces.
Active right now.
fireworks was the best he could do.
And my question is how come those batteries, the lithium batteries, didn't start, continue to go? I know it's a quick flash explosion. I get it. We can go into the fire dynamics of all of it, but you'd think that those batteries would ignite at some point and keep going, because we've talked about it on our show with all of these EV vehicles.
Yeah.
The fire side of it, it's a fucking nightmare to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Copious amounts of water, foam, and they just reignite. They keep, the chemical reaction just keeps happening.
Well,
now,
and then you also have a hazardous waste site.
Yeah. So there's a lot with that one too, that you're trying to put pieces together. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he was still active. And like I said, I was trying to deep dive as best I could.
Now, D probably knows more about that. That, from what I understand, D, he was still active duty. You've done a lot more research on that.
Not on this dude, I haven't, because honestly, I just know it's definitely related. And that is very impressive with this truck. Wow. I would definitely feel safe. That's
if you're
crazy.
outside of it.
So Elon did give he gave a disclaimer immediately that it wasn't going to be an accident.
I mean, the tires are still intact. Wow, that's really wild. Yeah, it was absolutely placed in that spot in a Tesla, so that way they can say, "Oh my gosh, it's right-wing extremists."
Right. Which it always comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind the fact that there are just some sick fucking people out there. It doesn't matter who you're supporting, who you're backing. There are just some sick motherfuckers out there.
So I just got an update from our executive producer of the James Mcgee show. He's still active. He's on leave from Germany.
I think I did see something about that.
Yeah.
Hey, say hi to your wife for me.
I was like, wait.
She prefers the title of executive producer, Joe.
Okay. All right. I'm just okay. That just flipped. Okay.
He's more proud of that title than the wife of James Mcgee, I promise you.
Okay. All right.
So no, she's done a lot of research on she's been glued to that the last couple of days. But I'm gonna follow this Vegas deal a little more, because for them to come out and already say that it's not related, that tells me right there that it is related, and they know it's related. So why did they keep
to come out so quick?
Why do they keep trying to fuck with our play on our top every time? They just want to play on our top and insult our intelligence every fucking time.
They're trying to make us crazy because, yesterday they said with the New Orleans that they saw on video and they got the IEDs that were planted all over Bourbon Street, that they saw on video that there was 2 males with him. So there was a total of, 4 people? 2 males and a female and him planting bombs all over. Oh, now today, 12 hours later, now, no, that nobody is working with him. What?
Right.
It was just him. It was a lone thing. And the Sugar Bowl, let's get it going. Let's clean the blood guts off the streets and continue.
Hey, the Sugar Bowl was safe tonight, D. I know that was a big concern of yours.
It was the safest place in New Orleans, the safest place in the world right now.
To say that New Orleans is the safest place on earth ever is just absolutely wild.
Well,
to me.
one thing I'm going to tell you, one thing I saw earlier, which whoever said this was they've never been to New Orleans. So somebody was criticizing that he should have stood out and some things should have stood out. Let me tell you something about New Orleans.
I was going to hit
especially on New Year's, because I have been to New Orleans on New Year's Eve, not willingly. My daughter, I think she was 16 or 17, wanted to go, so we went.
Oh my God.
It doesn't matter what you look like in fucking New Orleans. You're not going to stand out.
Right.
You're going to, if you're walking down Bourbon Street naked, you're not, people might look at you once. You're not going to stand out.
Right.
You could be in a business suit. You're not going to stand out. You can be gay and walking around a fucking Viking outfit, and you're not going to stand out. You could be straight. It doesn't matter. Nobody stands out in New Orleans, especially on New Year's Eve. It's the most diverse fucking place on earth. So that theory is just fucking gone.
And not that I want to give any credit to this shitbag, and I'll never say his fucking name. But
I don't know how to, so
yeah, I can't pronounce it if I had to. So
yeah, me neither. But very, very smart in the fact of taking coolers and randomly placing them, because the amount of homeless people that are on the fucking streets with coolers, nobody's ever going to think that either.
Yeah, coolers.
Smart move.
New Orleans, you're supposed to have fucking coolers. I mean, there's nothing's going to stand out. So to say that things were missed because y'all don't, then you've never been in New Orleans, especially Mardi Gras or New Year's Eve. Y'all trust me on that. It's not. Joe, you've been in New Orleans, Joe. You're not. It's just a unique fucking place.
No, I brought my son down there during a jazz fest, and he was in college. And I said, you are going to see things that you had never, ever thought that you'd ever see in your life. And it's just going to happen. And then we saw 3 7-foot-tall drag queens dressed as Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I'm like, there it is.
Hanging. He walking down the street with, slinging, and nobody's going to pay attention because it's New Orleans. There's titties everywhere. It's just what New Orleans is.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so a couple buddies of mine were talking today as far as like the timing, like the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3:15 in the morning. I'm like, you obviously never been on purpose.
Yeah. Now,
because shut it down at 5 for the fire department to come fucking hose off all the puke and piss, and then it's right back open at 7. So I said, it doesn't matter what time this would have happened. And he was like, well, don't you think that, at 12:15, right after
yep. Our executive producer feels the same way. That's what she has been focused on is, like she said, hey, why would his target time been at midnight? There would have been more people. But I agree with that. But it's New Orleans. There was obviously plenty of people still there.
And there could have been a period of time where he was trying to sack up, like where he was like, oh, fuck, I don't know.
The IEDs were planted, though. I think his plan was for those to detonate. They didn't. They were going to detonate before that. And then so his final straw was, let me just do this.
Yeah. That's another great point.
Yeah,
I think that's exactly what it was. I don't think that was his original plan. I think it was the IEDs were going to detonate. Thousands of people were going to be killed, but that didn't work. Thank God. And
we'll never know because thanks to New Orleans PD, the motherfucker's where he needs to be in hell.
Yep.
I think they did a great job, and
I think the response on the street was a fucking amazing. I think it was amazing.
Yeah, everyone said that. Like even the victims have said.
The actual cops in New Orleans, they're top notch. Right. I don't know how they're recruiting and retaining, Joe, but they're top notch guys.
Well, and somebody said something too about that, all of the FBI, and it's we know a lot of the boots on the ground agents, and they're amazing.
Yeah, no, they're good guys.
These are the people in the Crystal Tower that's the problem.
Yeah, when I criticize any agency, it's the leadership. I'm not criticizing. That's why I'm kind of defending on these barricades because they're going to find some fucking low guy. Then they're gonna, and I say low guy, they're gonna find some scapegoat, some Lieutenant Joe, some sergeant, and hang them out to dry with some fucking barricades. When the problem is we're giving ISIS $40 million a week, and we have open borders. That's where it starts, and that's my point.
Right.
Well, and like I said earlier, I think in a few weeks, and obviously it's going to take some time, but in a few weeks, we're going to have some people in place that are going to fix this.
Yep.
Now, it's not an overnight fix. We all know that. Anything in government never happens fast, but you put the pieces in place to let these things start moving.
Well, it almost is an overnight fix in a way, Jason, because fucking Mayorkas is going to be gone overnight. Just him gone, and just look at look at Dee's president. Look at the embarrassment of Dee's favorite person. Did y'all see that fucking interview with him? Who let him even on TV with Joe Biden? Uncle Joe.
Oh, we were making the joke that teleprompter had to be fucking 7 times the size of that room just so he could read everything and not fuck it up and get it right today.
Oh my gosh.
Well, he still fucked it up. That guy.
He fuck up a wet dream.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
He's just awful. But the thing is I don't like anyone in the government. I don't like the US government, period, at all. And I don't trust any single thing that comes out of their mouth at all. So I know I heard you say be patient, wait. Because I think being patient, waiting, is just going to be more time for them to come up with more lies and more. Trying to find something.
Yeah, but you also heard me say that I understand why. I don't trust them either, but I do. I would be patient, D, if they would just be honest and say, "Hey, we don't know right now." But what's causing people like us not to be patient is for them to go ahead and already rule that Las Vegas is not involved in this when it fucking is. You know, there's no way they know 100% that it's not right now. There is no way they know that. So that's why they don't have the trust of us. And, you know, if we did have trust, then what we should be is patient, because when we press so much, it causes sometimes people to say things prematurely. And that's why I say, let's be patient. Let's give them time. But that goes out the window when they start giving us bullshit, you know?
Yeah, and what the Cajun Navy said, I'm not really sure how they would know that, but I do know they work with law enforcement a lot. And I don't think they would come out and just randomly say something like that if they didn't know that.
Well, tell us what you're talking about.
Yeah, what's their background? Because I'm not familiar. I mean, I saw one of the in the group text. I saw something, but I'm not familiar.
The comment that somebody's putting on there, that's the White Plains nuclear test site that they're talking about in north of Vegas. Okay. So here's some more. There's where I was on my camera. I don't know if you're going to. There you go. So that was the 14th of November. That's Trump Tower. So that's actually a covered parking area right in front of the front door.
Yeah, that's in Vegas. That's Trump Tower in Vegas.
Yeah. And he pulled that truck underneath that. And if that would have actually been like a regular truck bomb that went off, it would have been all contained. It would have blown out the entire lobby of that hotel.
Wow.
So that Cybertruck actually probably saved, because of the design and the way it contained that, it probably saved hundreds of people's lives and the major destruction of that hotel.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
Elon for the win.
Mm-hmm. So what they tried to do is make him look bad at Trump Tower, and they actually
they win.
Exactly, that's what win. It's
like Trump says, we're gonna get tired of winning. Well, let's close this thing out with some thoughts. Jason, the final thoughts on your end. Where do you feel like this thing's headed?
Obviously, I think we're gonna find some more, common ground between Vegas and New Orleans, and with what the media is actually going to put out there for us to eat and digest and figure out. But people got to be smart and be able to pick through what they feel is real and what they feel is not, because there's going to be a lot of false narratives that are going to be thrown in this thing. And like I said, the timing. Granted, I understand New Year's, but we're getting ready to go through the transition of power. It's somehow or another, this is going to get turned into fucking Trump's fault. I guarantee you.
Oh my God. World hunger is Trump's fault.
Right. But like you said, that, both those individuals are sitting exactly where they fucking need to be.
Yep.
And, my prayers go out to, the people that lost their lives, but then, the many that were injured in New Orleans. I haven't heard any counts from Vegas at all. But
yeah,
my thoughts with all of them, because I mean, innocent bystanders of bullshit is what it is.
So we're getting local news is getting some updates here because one of the kids, I'd say it's kid because he's 28 and I got kids his age. So the best kid that was killed, he played football on one of the best teams in Louisiana, St. Thomas More. He's the same age as my son, and my son played against him. I remember him. He was a wide receiver, and he was fucking good. And his brother played, Jack Besh, played for LSU. Now, this kid played for Princeton. He's got cousins here. So this is going to be the cousins of some friends of mine, kid. So there's some local ties here. So, we got a lot. There's a lot of local people. I think there were a few, D, from Alabama. I think there were.
Yeah, there's
one
there's
from Gulf Shores, maybe.
I mean, Mobile and New Orleans have a lot of similarities too.
Yo, you're closer to New Orleans than I am.
Really?
I'm 3.5 hours from New Orleans. What are you, 2? You 2,
Like
maybe an hour and a
even.
half. You're hour and a half to 2 hours. Yeah, I'm 3.5 hours from New Orleans.
Oh wow. Yeah, so
it's not far enough. It's not far enough, but it's it's far enough. I wish I was as far as Jason is. That picture's a complete shithole.
The fucking frozen tundra of Cincinnati? No.
Yeah.
All the people who saw this. And one thing I want to talk about really quick is how are we so desensitized to seeing this type of stuff on social media? I literally watched the video of the young 18-year-old child and people just share it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's horrific.
I agree with you. I do.
I mean, that's someone's child. And all I can think about is I was that 18-year-old child. I did exactly what she did multiple times.
Oh, I did 10 times worse than 10 times worse than she ever did,
So it's like,
I could see I got a 22-year-old daughter, and in the last couple of years, she's grown up and wizened up on some of those things. But I'm gonna tell you, a couple of years ago, she was in New Orleans. I don't remember if it was New Year's Eve, but she went there she went to LSU, so she was 45 minutes away. And I thought about that last night. It very well could have been her there, and that's everybody that I saw on TV was somebody like her.
Mm-hmm.
Was that age, that generation, and it's a terrible situation.
Everybody that saw that is going to need help. I mean, people are saying stuff about how these people are talking about it, but what people don't realize is sudden death shock is a thing. Yeah. These people are in shock. They probably won't even remember doing these interviews because they haven't even processed what has happened.
Joe, give us some thoughts on that. I'm sorry, Jason, go ahead.
Just a real quick side note. So you've heard me talk about before the police and fire motorcycle club that I'm in that we raise money for hurt cops and firemen. But we have a summer party every year. Well, we had a chapter in New Orleans, and in 2017 we had 900 of us converge at the hotel right next to at the time it was Mercedes Superdome. But, stayed in that hotel. Everybody went out on Bourbon Street. And so, it took me back to that. Holy shit, that could have happened then. I mean, it happened now. But everybody, just flocks. And like you said, if you've never been to Bourbon, New Orleans and Bourbon Street, I mean, I knew exactly where Bourbon Street and Canal Street are. I know exactly.
Yeah.
I know it's sitting on the corners there, or at least, at that time when I was down there. But I've been down there.
It hasn't changed. I promise you it hasn't changed.
Right. So I've been down there 3 or 4 times, but a bunch of my buddies and I could have been down there. Mm-hmm. It's just it's a destination shithole, but a destination that you go to.
Yeah, no, it is. It's something.
It's scary. It's so scary the world that we're living in right now.
But, and it's going to get worse.
Yeah. And before I know you want to hit Joe before you log it out because you're in control of this. I want since we're sharing it on my channel too. Mm-hmm. I want each of you to say where the people that follow One More can find you guys. But hit Joe real quick, and that way everybody knows.
So what I'm going to say is that, like we talked about this, these are not coincidences. Like Dee said, there's 2 million terrorists in our country because of the borders that we've had over the last 4 years. There were not that many terrorists in our country over 9/11. This is a warm-up.
Good point.
This was potentially a very small cell that was activated with 2 situations within hours of each other in different parts of our country.
So I was going to ask Dee this, but let me ask you this, Joe. Do you feel like the dates that are coming up, the one in 4 days and then the other one in 18 days, has a relation to this?
I think that they're going, my personal belief, here's my, if I was doing something like this, it wouldn't be on those dates. It would be around those dates because they're looking for soft targets. They're not looking for hardened targets because they don't get as much bang for the buck. Right. And if you've read any of Grossman's stuff in that, is like he was saying, don't look for the hardened targets. They're going after the soft targets because that's where the shock and awe is going to be.
Yeah, the 28-year-old partying for New Year's Eve.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
So, unfortunately, these things were horrific. However, I think we got a lot worse coming.
Dee, what are your final thoughts, Dee?
I wholeheartedly believe that, and it's not something anyone wants to be right about.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
I literally have been saying that if Trump gets inaugurated, these sleeper cells that are in this country are going to, just like he said, are going to be activated because they know they're at risk for being deported. They don't care. They're either going to die, because that's what they do. They're suicide bombers. Or they don't die and they get to sit in our prisons forever.
You know, I'm glad you said that, Dee, because you know, you and I sometimes come across as some doomsday conspiracy theorists.
Not conspiracy.
But we would love to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to be wrong. I don't want to be right, but unfortunately, we've been right more than we've been wrong lately.
I cried when I saw that this happened because I was just like, it's just, and I even said, I'm like, I don't want to be right about this. I'm just telling y'all this is what's going to happen. Why wouldn't it happen? If they're telling you there's 2 million terrorists, they said this on TV. It's not just coming out of my brain. 2 million terrorists. And then I think it was an Ohio police chief came on TV and also said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Oh, I saw that.
Exactly that. I think that was in Ohio.
Yeah, I believe you're correct.
And I mean his words.
But they also eat the dogs and eat the cats in Ohio, so you can't pay attention to that.
But I mean it is. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because again, they're at risk for being deported and they're gonna do whatever they hate America. They were parading through the streets yesterday in New York. But we allow it.
Right. And
no, that's a whole different look. I have not touched on that, and I don't want to get on this, go down another rabbit hole. But, and I always screw the word up, but the radicalization of America is a problem.
Yeah.
And, I believe in First Amendment, I believe in all that, but that is a huge problem too. Of people being radicalized, and that's, I don't know how you address it without violating the Constitution, but that's a problem. It 100% is. So, Jason, I appreciate you coming on and bringing your show on here with us. I've never
done that before. It seems like it's working. So
I think it's great. I'd love for you to do it every time, but I can be found on all social media, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. At the James Mcgee Show is where I'm at. I'm the same handle on every platform. So I'd love for your viewers to give us a shot. Joe's with us once a week. Dee's with us once a week, and we'd love to for your viewers to give us a shot. And I feel like they'll if they like your show, I think they'll like us too.
Absolutely.
We don't have Pappas, but you've got the rights on Pappas, so.
Oh, he'll be on your show. He loves to hear himself talk.
I'd love to have him. So, I'm going to we leave on the 17th for DC. And we'll be there until the 22nd or we maybe come back. So we go on that Thursday, I think we fly up on that Thursday and we come back on Tuesday, I believe. Inauguration's on Monday. So we will definitely do something from DC. So
I'll try to figure out my schedule around that time. And if we've got a show.
Oh, I'd love to come on from DC. I'd love to. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do live remote boots on the ground.
I will definitely be there. I think the only thing we got two things that are on the itinerary. My pick was I got to eat at Carmine's. Carmine's is I have to eat there. And then we got tickets. We've always been to the monument, but we never been actually in it. My wife got tickets to. You got to, they're cheap, but they fill up fast. So she was able to get some tickets for that, and because they only go on sale like 30 days out. So she had to every day she was checking. So we got tickets to that, and other than that, we're just going to freestyle, man. We're just going to see what's going on over there.
Heck yeah! And Dee, where can they find you?
You're falling.
Well, you might get shut down.
Yeah. I'm just on TikTok for now. I am Deirdre on TikTok for now. Like I said, I think my account's about to go down. So
yeah,
she puts out. Anybody that doesn't know her, she puts out a ton of great shit.
She does.
You
can find her here. She's with us once a week. Her and I do. She is Deirdre Looney, and I'm James Mcgee, and we do McLooney Live. It was kind of catchy, so we do McLooney Live, and we do that about once a week. And now that the holidays are over, we're going to get kicked back off. But I wanted to do tonight just to do something special on what's going on, because I knew that all three of you, like me, were real in tune with what's going on and would offer some really good commentary on that. So
absolutely,
I appreciate all of you coming on. I appreciate all of our listeners. We had quite a few listeners tonight. That's exciting. Until next time, McGee, Collins, Kiefer, and Looney are out.
bye.